Hello and welcome to the program. Now, the coronavirus pandemic is still ravaging the world, and this time, the Africa Center for Disease Control has raised an alert on another new variant of the virus found in Nigeria. We understand, these samples were actually taken between August and October, and they were actually taken from 2 patients in Osun State. Now, recall that health officials in the United Kingdom had earlier identified a new strain of the virus believed to have come from South Africa, where experts suspect may be driving increased infection rates. Now, this new variant found in Nigeria is said to be different from that of South Africa and the UK, which experts have said is about 70% more transmissible than the original strain of the virus from Wuhan, China. Already, countries have started banning flights from Britain to cut the spread of the disease. Back home in Nigeria, rising number of infections with over 3,000 infections reported in the space of 3 days has forced the government to reimpose restrictions, especially on public gatherings. Now, with the Pfizer vaccine giving a ray of hope in the fight against the pandemic, the Presidential Task Force on Covid-19 says the vaccine will be available in Nigeria, making use of the Gavi arrangement, which will accommodate about 40 million of Nigeria's population. As a matter of fact, the latest estimate is that by March next year, about 100 Nigerians would have been vaccinated with the vaccine. Now, amid rising infections, will Nigeria be willing to receive shots of the vaccine? Because you also have the problem of conspiracy theory that keeps growing around the vaccine. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Dr. Joseph Minari. He is the Sub-Dean of the Faculty of Science, University of Lagos. He's also a molecular biologist. Doc, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let me start by asking you about this new variant that the Africa CDC says has been discovered in Nigeria. It says it is still investigating it. It hasn't reached a conclusion yet, so to speak. But how worried should we be about this new variant of the virus in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. And first of all, I need to actually commend you for actually trying to bring us up to date with the latest information on this coronavirus, because we actually need scientific information that needs to go across board. Like you earlier alluded to, there are a lot of conspiracy theories everywhere, and where we don't have scientific information, rumor seems to be taking over information all around us. So I really need to commend you that, and I hope other media houses can actually do this to bring information from scientists so that our people could be well informed. Now, going back to the question that you asked, sometimes about 3-4 months, a variant was found in the United Kingdom, and that variant was called the VUI 2020-12/01, or sometimes they call it the lineage 117. And in that particular variant, about 23 mutations were observed in the genome of the coronavirus. I haven't said that some of the mutations are synonymous, while some are non-synonymous. But among those that are non-synonymous, there are some striking ones that called for attention. That one was the one, they call it the N50Y, N50Y, and also the 6970 del, that's delete. They observed from the UK that the N50Y, that means there is a mutation, and that mutation has actually affected amino acid, thyroxine replacing asparagine. And they discovered that the implication of that is that because the mutation happens at the spike gene, the spike gene, yes, that's responsible for the spike of the coronavirus, that it helps the virus to bind tightly. And they now said that this probably has actually enhanced the rapid transmission that we had in the US. And also in South Africa, it was also observed that there is a particular lineage that they call the 501.V2. Now, a few minutes ago, the African
CDC,
Center for Disease Control, also announced that in Nigeria we have a new lineage that have been observed, and that one is the P681H. that also means that there is a mutation that's actually occurred whereby histidine is an amino acid that has actually replaced proline. Now, we should be worried because the replacement of some of these amino acids, some of those amino acids have, they are classified under different classification. We have those that are aromatic, that are basic. And so their interaction varies. So if you are replacing a basic amino acid with an acidic amino acid, definitely, most likely that the behavior of that particular product that it has produced in the coronavirus might be different. And that is why we should be worried. We should be worried, even though to a large extent the pathogenesis of these variants has not really been completely established, but to a large extent there is sufficient scientific information to actually tell us that the new variant actually enhances rapid transmission. And that is why we should be worried. And that is why we should quickly look for a way to stem this tide, to stop it, so that we can cut off this transmission of this virus, and so that we can have peace. And don't forget that because it's a positive sense RNA virus, and it is error prone in the sequence. So there is chances, in fact, from the beginning of this COVID, we've had over thousands of mutations that have occurred in the coronavirus. So that is why we should be worried. So the earlier we can get rid of this virus, the better for us. So I think it actually calls for attention. And like you said, within the space of few days, we are having over 3,000 reported cases in Nigeria. So we actually need to sit up and then look into this to be able to ascertain what is actually happening to the new lineage of the coronavirus that we're having in Africa, so that we can actually contain it to a large extent.
Now, the next question I want to ask, because you have said it, that it's something we should be worried about, this new variant. Now the problem is, how are we sure that these vaccines that have been developed and the ones that have been developed would be able to work for these new variants?
Yeah, thank you very much. Mainly, when you develop vaccine, you also make room for those things. Scientifically, vaccines are broad band based, so they are not just restricted. Even though it still calls for research, but as it stands, there's still a lot of confidence that the vaccine that is being made will be able to actually cope, because the vaccine we are using now is a little bit different from the conventional vaccine that we are used to, whereby you inactivate the particular organism, inject it, and then it will stimulate the antibodies. Now we are having what we call the mRNA virus. So the mRNA of the spike protein of the virus has been actually extracted, and then will now be introduced into the body system, and then it will now use the ribosome to actually produce something that looks like the spike protein, so that the antibodies against spike will be mobilized in the body. So to a large extent, we can still be confident that the vaccine that has been developed will be able to cope. But having said that, as scientists, everything is still prone to scientific authentication. We still need to also scientifically authenticate also to be double sure that the vaccine is going to work for us here. I think we should actually also look into that. We shouldn't just take it hook, line, and sinker, even though scientifically what they have said that it should be able to cope with the various lineages that we are having of the virus.
Now, this second wave of the virus we're having in Nigeria at the moment, would you say it's as a result of the fact that, we lifted restrictions, opened our borders, the airports were open, international travels allowed, people were allowed to come in, then we've been having large gatherings and all of that. Would you say that is responsible for this second wave we're having now, or is just because we appear to be doing more testing now? Because in the past, the kind of capacity to test that we have now, we did not have in the past.
Yes, well, I can say it's a combination of both. Actually, one of the major problems we have is also that, will I say, people are misinformed, or you know, we have, when you go around, people really don't take the issue of the COVID-19 serious any longer. Some people even will tell you that it does not even exist in Nigeria. Some, you know, a lot of conspiracy theory. So that's on one angle. And like you have said, I can authoritatively tell you that the testing the capacity that we've been testing have been very low compared to our population. Even then when we're saying that our numbers are low, you will ask yourself, is it that the numbers are low or our testing is low? Because when you look at our population of over 200 million, and places like South Africa that they are around 50 to 70 million, when you see what they are testing per day, is quite higher than ours. So if they are testing more, and then we are testing lower than them, and they are getting more numbers, and we think that our own number is low. So the point remains that we have not been testing too much before. Now is because we have a variant, and because we have a little issues here and there, so people are even offering themselves to be tested. And now when people are being tested, they now discover that they are testing positive. Even some people, so quite a number of them are even asymptomatic, but at least they tested positive and they're able to isolate themselves to reduce the further spread of the virus. So I can say directly to your question that it's a combination of both. Testing capacity increase and also opening up. You can see now in some parts of Europe that they even have to cut off movement to in and out of UK, just to make sure that they try to stem the tide of that new lineage that is coming up. So it's a combination of both, opening up everywhere, people also taking it for granted, people not following the NCDC protocol that have been laid out for people to follow. So those are a combination of things. That's why we are having a spike in the number as we have now.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the vaccine now. The government says it hopes that Nigeria would get the vaccine by January, maybe the end of January, and the target is that 100 million Nigerians would be vaccinated by the end of March. Quite a very tall order. Now, given the kind of conspiracy theories we are seeing around this COVID-19 vaccine, and it's not just in Nigeria alone, we see that even in Europe and America. Do you think we'll be able to achieve that target of 100 million Nigerians getting vaccinated by the end of March? And also, given the logistics of distributing this vaccine to every part of the country?
Well, I think it's going to depend on how much information, convincing information that we're able to put across to the people to it. Because as it stands, there is conspiracy theory, and people are glued to that their belief that they are not taking the vaccine, as you have rightly alluded to, that even in the US. So we have this conspiracy theory, and if you remember during polio, it took us so long time before we were able to eradicate polio, even here in Nigeria. So at a point you needed to mobilize the religious leaders to help in talking to the people. So we need a whole lot of advocacy, we need a whole lot of information, passing information across to the people. Because I think we might find it very, very difficult to actually give out that vaccine when it comes next year. Because as it stands, as I told you, so many people still don't believe that COVID exists in Nigeria. So many people still have a lot of conspiracy about the vaccine. So, and I think maybe what we can do is that if we can get that vaccine as early as possible, we should have our own team here in Nigeria to also be able to carry out some level of clinical analysis on it, to be able to put out reliable information from our people, for them to know, okay, these are our own medical doctors in Nigeria, or these are our own scientists here in Nigeria. We have worked on this, and this is what we got. This is safe for us, and then we can use it. So to a large extent, psychologically, that could bring a relief to our people, and people will be able to probably offer themselves to be vaccinated. If aside that, I doubt it if we will find it very, very easy to vaccinate people next year, and that number they might find it very difficult to catch up with next year.
Dr. Joseph Minari, Sub-Dean of the Faculty of Science, University of Lagos, and molecular biologist, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you very much for your time.
Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back. On Digi 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country?
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that ballot.
Digi 360, providing clarity to issues.